Hi,
Good morning.
this is Kim,
This is Andy.
and we're going to read to you from the Urantia book. But first, 365 Days of Walking the Red Road by Terry Jean.
Today, June 6th.
June 6th.
We'll hear from Chief Plentycoo, a crow. He said, "These were not our ways. We kept the laws we made and lived our religion. We have never been able to understand the white man who fools nobody but himself." This date in Native American history, 40 American Indians protested for rights atop Mount Rushmore National Memorial.
Okay, June 6th, 1971.
71.
40 American Indians protested for rights atop. Of course, that's their sacred land. Those are their
The Black
sacred
Hills.
sacred mountains. Yep.
And then
Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu, translation by Derek Wynn.
fame or the self, which is dearer?
Keep going.
The self or wealth, which is greater?
If you feel the true self is more important than either fame or material possessions, is this feeling reflected in your daily actions? Do you pursue material things at the expense of spiritual cultivation, despite your conviction that the latter is more important?
Gain or loss, which is more painful?
For many people, this question has an obvious answer. Decrease is always painful. Increase is not so bad. Is this an accurate perception of reality? So we should all want to gain weight then, because increase is better, but that's not, material increase is not always better, right? Is it a useful way to live life? Is it, in other words, in accordance with the Tao? Okay, wait, I'm going to go back to this here. Fame or self, which is dearer, the self or wealth? Do you pursue material things at the expense of spiritual cultivation? Right. So, right. Okay. So, should you do we do that? Pursue the material, the expense. Remember the a lot of Christians have this idea that when they're good Christians and they behave themselves well, they will be rewarded with material benefits. This is not it. This is upside down, because what the truth is, right, is that if you cultivate your spirituality, you're rewarded with more spiritual understanding and spiritual growth, right? So if you're going to pursue material wealth, you're going to get more physical stuff, material wealth, right? If you pursue spirit, you're going to gain in spirit. You're going to gain understanding and peace and tolerance and these characteristics. Don't expect to pursue spiritual wealth for the sake of gaining material wealth. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So, but then people will say, because we're so steeped in materialism, say, well, then why should we bother to do it? There are not going to be any, you know what I mean? Material rewards there.
Right.
But that's where a lot of people are, I think. Anyway, okay, I'm sorry for the detour. Keep going then.
This excessive love must lead to a great spending.
Okay, thus excessive love.
Thus excessive love must lead to a great spending.
Okay. We have all seen how excessive love of material things compels one to spend. In our society, this spending is often done on credit before we really have the financial resources to afford it. We have become a nation of debtors. Every day we dig ourselves ever deeper.
Excessive hoarding must lead to heavy loss.
We have seen the negative consequences of having too much. Our lives are filled with things that are not useful enough to keep and yet not useless enough to discard. Oh man, I'm facing that problem lately. The clutter takes up space and denies us peace of mind. We worry about possible loss, theft, or damage. We cannot relax. Even before we actually lose anything, we have already lost a lot. Because you losing that energy that you're investing in maintaining stuff.
Mhm.
And really, it's just stuff,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
It's just stuff.
To the point that it owns you, actually.
It owns you.
Feed me.
Right.
Knowing contentment avoids disgrace.
Keep going.
Knowing when to stop avoids danger. Thus, one can endure indefinitely.
Therefore, the way of Tao is contentment and being able to let go. Knowing when to stop is an important step. It prevents further accumulation of clutter. Being able to let go is the next step. There's a powerful feeling of liberation when we master this aspect of Tao cultivation. Gain or loss, which is more painful? Once we experience the joy of simplifying and streamlining, like like a minimalist would do, right? Okay.
Yeah.
We will understand that gain can bring unwanted complexity while loss can bring freedom. This understanding puts the question in a completely different light.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's turn page. All right. Now we have our Urantia book.
Still, today we're going to finish paper 47, part 10,
Mm-hmm.
Jerusem Citizenship.
Okay. Jerusem Citizenship. Did I put that on? Did I put? I don't know if I named it the right thing. Oh well, whatever now.
Read the left column.
What does it say? Yep. No, I did. Yeah, I did. Okay. Over. Yeah. Okay. Okay. We're good. Okay, I'll read it. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Okay. The reception of a new class of Mansion World graduates is the signal for all Jerusalem to assemble as a committee of welcome. Even the Spornasia enjoy the arrival of these triumphant descendants of evolutionary origin, those who have run the planetary race and finished the Mansion World progression. Only the physical controllers and Maranta power supervisors are absent from these occasions of rejoicing. This is interesting to me that we all ascend at this stage. We ascend as a class. We have a class. So, back to school days, right? With the class, the class of, but the thing is that we have to invest in each other because if there's one person that's behind that isn't really getting it, we have to help that person get it so
Mhm.
we can go up together, because none of us go up until all of us go up. Yeah.
Yep.
So we literally have to wait for all the members of our class to be able to ascend.
Mhm.
I think that's really beautiful. In a way, that makes me feel like, well, that's not really fair. But then in a way, I think that's really important, because again, we're learning to help each other and invest in each other.
What is it? We're not leaving anybody behind.
We're not leaving anybody behind. You're in this class. You've been put in this class.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll keep going. Okay. John the Revelator, right? The Revelator, who wrote the Revelations,
Mhm.
saw a vision of the arrival of a class of advancing mortals from the seventh mansion world to their first heaven, the glories of Jerusalem. He recorded, and I saw as it were a sea of glass, right? A sea of glass mingled with fire.
Mhm.
And those who had gained the victory over the beast that was originally in them, and over the image that persisted through the mansion worlds, and finally over the last mark and trace, standing on the sea of glass, having the harps of God and singing the song of deliverance from mortal fear and death.
Hmm.
Again, you see, like the beast. This is
Mhm.
the victory of the beast that's in you. It's not the devil outside.
Right. The beast outside.
Right. The mark of the beast. Right.
Mhm.
Perfected space communication is to be had on all these worlds, and your anywhere reception of such communications is made possible by carrying the harp of God, a Morantia contrivance, compensating for the inability to directly adjust the immature Morantia sensory mechanism to the reception of space communications. Okay, so that's the harp of God. So that means, okay, that's interesting. Okay, so that's like, okay, the harp of God. That means that that's like a translator. So it's a Morantia contrivance, compensating for the inability to directly adjust immature Morantia. So we're compensating for our inability to communicate. So it's like a little translator,
Mhm.
like on Star Trek or whatever. What are those worlds where you see like
Universal communicator.
the universal? So it'll automatically change
Mhm.
your language to the
Right.
to what you're hearing so you can communicate. That's the harp. That's the harp.
Okay.
Okay. Paul also had a view of the ascendant citizen core of perfecting mortals on Jerusalem, for he wrote, "But you have come to Mount Zion and to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to an innumerable company of angels, to the grand assembly of Michael, and to the spirits of just men being made perfect." Wow.
After mortals have attained residence on the system headquarters, no more literal resurrections will ever be experienced. The Morantia form granted you on departure from the mansion world career is such as will see you through to the end of the local universe experience. Changes will be made from time to time, but you will retain this same form until you bid it farewell when you emerge as first stage spirits preparatory for transit to the super universe worlds of ascending culture and spirit training. 7 times do those mortals who pass through the entire Mansonia career experience the adjustment sleep and the resurrection awakening. But the last resurrection hall, the final awakening chamber, was left behind on the seventh mansion world. No more will a form change necessitate the lapse of consciousness or a break in the continuity of personal memory.
Okay, right. Okay.
The, the mortal personality initiated on the evolutionary worlds and tabernacled in the flesh, indwelt by the mystery monitors, and invested by the spirit of truth, is not fully mobilized, realized, and unified until that day when such a Jerusem citizen is given clearance for Urantia and proclaimed a true member of the Morantia Corps of Nebadon, an immortal survivor of a Jester association, a paradise ascender, a personality of Morantia status, and a true child of the Most Highest. Mortal death is the technique of escape from the material life in the flesh, and the Mansonia experience of progressive life through 7 worlds of corrective training and cultural education represents the introduction of mortal survivors to the Morantia career, the transition life which intervenes between the evolutionary material existence and the higher spirit attainment of the ascenders of time who are destined to achieve the portals of eternity.
Sponsored by a brilliant evening star.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, it makes you just want to look forward to it, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, so that's the end of paper 47. So next time we'll do paper 48.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
all right. Have a really good day now.
Have a great day.
Yeah, we'll see you later.